Hello, everybody. Not that anyone will be watching me yet. Happy. It's my birthday week this week. It's exciting, isn't it? Can we get some... Oh, hey, Joe. Hello. Can we sort out our screens?
Don't worry, there's no comments yet. Maybe just do a bit of sort of preamble.
Preamble. I already said to everyone, it was my birthday this week. Guess how old I am? Put it in the comments.
Uh-oh.
How old was I on Monday? That can be your first comment challenge. We're almost there. Thanks for pinging in. Oh, there I can see myself. That's really disconcerting. And now I can see the 37. Thank you, Tom. No, I'm younger than that. How dare you? Maybe I need to shave my face and dye my hair darker or something. No, Tom, you are over. If any further comments on my birthday on Monday, feel free to chuck it in. Today I've got a couple of things to actually ask everybody, but we'll do that in a little while once everyone's here. But first, any questions, send them over. I have recently been with Wilson, so I have some cool Wilson updates. If anyone's got questions about that. 29, now that's my kind of thinking. No, I am not late 20s, I'm afraid. Although that would have been... I'll give you a clue. My 29th birthday was during COVID. The very start, in fact. And yes, I got some cool updates from Wilson last week. Obviously, we've always got things. Oh, have you made a little discount code?
I can.
Oh, that'd be very clever. Once someone guesses it, we'll use that as our discount code for the day to get everyone a little bit of bonus discount online for the next 24 hours. So keep going. Oh, Tom Smith, 34, brilliant at maths, exactly, COVID. I was 29, 34, I was 34, so there you go. Everyone's saying not a big deal, I disagree. It was a threshold birthday, early 30s to mid 30s. So there you go. So our discount code today is going to be Josh34. I don't know what that's going to get you. Sean is shaking his head going, you haven't prepped this, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
Not 34%.
Not 34%, no. Not yet. So yeah, Josh34 will be the code. What you're going to get for it, I don't know. What do you reckon, Sean? Do a flat discount again? What, 10%? 5%? 9%? What are you thinking?
10%.
10%. He's gone 10%. For those of you who've probably never even seen Sean, have you? He manages the shop, so often when you guys place your orders and send inquiries, actually Sean dealing with you. So yeah, he's behind the camera creating it. 34 cans of randomised balls. That's a good idea. Let's do that. If you order using the code Josh34. And I'm going to be really presumptuous here and say if we get 34 orders, each order will get a free tube of balls. There you go. That is it. 34 cans of randomised balls. That would be quite the bottle. I don't think we've got 34 different ones, including paddle and kids' balls. Maybe. Close. Good morning, Giancarlo. Where are you good morning me from? Obviously, we're here in very sunny North London. This week has been really nice. I lost my sunglasses yesterday, so that wasn't a good start to my summer, but there we go. I'll find some more. Sean's looking very puzzled about my Josh34 plan. Oh, he thumbs me up.
It's on all the balls.
It's on all the balls. There we go. Sunbury-on-Thames, that sounds really pleasant. More pleasant than Enfield anyway. Cool, and so are you what level tennis player are you, Giancarlo? And Tom, because you got your birthday, right? Let me know, what are we playing with? Are we singles, are we doubles, are we performance, are we club, are we playing county week, where are we, or are we on the tour, we think we sold some string to Tistapas's brother. We're pretty confident, in fact. He ordered some Toraline string, we sent it over to Greece. It's actually stuck at customs at the moment, so he hasn't got it, but that's pretty cool. We traced his family tree, and I can't remember what the brother's name was. Sean, do you remember?
And the Greek pronunciation is like Pavlodis or something.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, so yeah, we're so big time, we're now selling to professional tennis players' brothers. So, we're getting there. Cool, so a couple of things. Oh, we go. The discount code is coming in to get 10%. What are we getting, Sean? Use code Josh34 to get 10% off all balls. Well, no, and they're going to get free balls. Plus a free tube. There you go. So if you order any balls, you'll get 10% off and we'll give you a free one. There you go. That's my birthday code. I feel like could have been more generous, but Sean's got margins to deal with. I don't have to worry about that. There we go. Awesome. So yeah, as always, any questions, pop them in the chat, whether it's to do with, we've kind of ended up on tennis balls, so talking about tennis balls, different surfaces, or rackets that you're using, thinking about changing to string setups, any of those fun things, get commenting and let us know what you like. For those of you who are just joining us, if you're looking at the questions and seeing, it was my birthday on Monday, hence the 34 guess, and the code is obviously today, Josh, 34. So as I said earlier, I was with Wilson last week, so we got a few new things coming out of Wilson towards the end of this year. I don't know really how much I'm supposed to say, but this blue racket next to me has been out for a few years, so I wonder if it's time for a refresh. That could be cool. And often new rackets in the second half of the year come towards the US Open. So there's actually currently, I think, 3 US Open releases across all the brands that I can think of. Sean's counting on his fingers behind me. Is that right? I think it's 3. Sean can even think of 2, so yeah, I'm a bit sharper. So yeah, pretty sure, at the moment anyway, we've got 3 full winter releases. That's that season starting with the US Open. And yeah, you can probably guess based on what's due to change what they are. I have now seen them all. I think they're all very strong, so I think it could be a good end to the year. It'll be interesting to see how sales progress. Any questions? Any questions? Let me know where you're watching from. Joe is younger, right? No, of course he's not. Joe's got a big birthday this year. You can tell by all his grey hair and his beard and such, and the way he moves on the tennis court. What was I saying before I was distracted by Joe's comment? Yeah, where people are from. No, I was thinking of something else that was quite interesting.
US Open racket releases? Yeah,
US Open racket releases new, and I can't remember. It'll come to me. Peter, good morning. Currently using the Gravity MP and Speed MP, mixing between the two. With Hawk Touch, nice, 12552. They need some strings that hold tension better. Yeah, so one of restring sort of things is tension maintenance. Similar with Toraline as well, the tension maintenance is better. That's kind of the new breed of strings that are being made. You will get more spin from restring sync than Hawk Touch, if that's of preference to you. You would get more control and more consistency out of the Hawk Touch though, in terms of giving you exactly what you expect. But it's certainly maybe worth a try, Peter. Maybe worth a try. Interesting about this Gravity and Speed MP, we recorded a video, me and Ben did a test this week on Radical MP and Speed MP. And when we were kind of talking about it, and there's a bit of it on camera as well, and we were discussing how the brands kind of have a brand concept, or like there's something that's quite similar about all the rackets within it. So you could say like Babolat rackets generally are stiffer.
And ugly.
Joe says and ugly. Disagree. The Raffaello. French kiss. But interesting, when we were talking about if you blacked out all of the head rackets, a Radical MP, a Speed MP, an Extreme MP, a Boom MP, strung them with the same string, it would be quite difficult to tell them apart. And I think we would be able to. We've played enough with them all and we'd get the slightly nuances. But for your average club player, I think they'd really struggle, and somebody who maybe uses the Gravity might end up preferring a Boom, or using an Extreme might prefer something else. So the fact that you're switching between the Gravity and Speed MP isn't hugely surprising to me. Obviously, you'll know that when we did the Radical and Speed, and you can probably tell from the review, that's pretty much the conclusion. The standard things you'd get from 100 versus 98 were the conclusions that we had. So yes, Peter, that would be my advice. Anyone else, where are we watching from? Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what racket you're using, what string setup. If you're thinking of changing, of course you're thinking of changing. Where's the fun in playing tennis if you don't change your equipment all the time? And yeah, and if you have any other questions about new things that are coming and what else is going on. Giancarlo, what are the main differences between head, hawk, and links? So head string sort of collection separates these out. So links is actually slightly like a lower tier in terms of quality, especially the link. The links tour is better, but hawk is their premium string option. Hawk touch, hawk. There's some others as well. I think there might be some new ones coming. So yeah, the hawk are kind of the tour level strings, the ones they're expecting their pro players to be on. In fact, I do have a list of all the head players and the strings they're using. If I had it to hand, I could tell you exactly which head players are using which head string in particular, and then from there we could make it out. Maybe we can do that. Would that be fun? Would people like that? Would people like me to find a list of head players and what they're using? Oh, I have Hawk Touch here and Links Tour. So here you go. Do a Yonex E-Zone versus Yonex Percept. So, alright, I've got some questions for you, Awuton, and others, because people repeatedly are asking us to do versus and comparison videos between rackets that are completely different. So a lot of people have been asking for E-Zone. I'm getting a call from the wife, she doesn't know I'm live. E-Zone versus Radical, which, okay, they're both new, so you can get some new information on them, but they're for very different players. So we're not quite sure if we should do it or not, or we should stick to doing E-Zone and Pure Drive, or in this case, Percept and Strike, or Percept and some of the blades, or Percept and Pro stuff, where they're aimed at the similar market across different brands. But maybe I'm completely wrong, and we're all wrong, and we should be just doing almost randomized versuses. So Wuton, let me know why. Why E-Zone versus Percept? It's just because it's within Yonex? Would you then like to put a V-core in there so you kind of get the whole family and the differences between them all? I'm confused, just let me know why. Giancarlo, you're very welcome. Supercoder. Oh, I love questions like this. Do you think the ITF should have a rule to not allow brands to misdirect consumers by painting over rackets, using deceptive words like endorsed by? It's legally fraudulent, but is it legally fraudulent but very unethical? This is a really interesting question. It's become the norm, right? It's become the norm for players, and it's not just tennis. You've got to look at football players and the boots that they wear. When they don't get a deal, they'll black them out. They won't endorse them. They will change colours of boots the same way. I don't think it's going to change. I think you're going to get players who have grown up on a certain racket, and this is why I think this instance of poly strings on tour is so prevalent, and natural gut probably isn't as much as it should be. Is because when you're growing up as a teenager and playing that much and getting through strings, you need to have longevity in that equipment. It can't be breaking all the time because it costs too much. And then because that's what you've learned and played with, as you're then on the tour, you keep using what you've used. So I don't think it's... I mean, this is probably a different question, Supercoder. But obviously, if you're changing and updating rackets every 3 years or every 2 years, players are going to be like, well, no, I don't want another update. They want it less sporadic than that. And so maybe that's more of the problem, is that are the updates too frequently or not significant enough for the tour? And should they just be tour spec frames? And they're all just there painted to endorse, because obviously what we're using at club level and such is not anything to do with what the tour players are playing.
Except for Alvarez.
Except for it, yeah. Well, there's a few. Obviously a lot of the Yonex rackets as well. They always say they make them in the same factory. They're made, yes, they're matched, the ones for those players, but essentially they just can come off the shelf. They're the same quality. So, yeah, interesting. Very good question, though, Supercoder. I enjoy that. Yeah, I get what you meant. It's not legal, but it's legal but fraudulent. Or I don't know if fraudulent is the word, but it's unethical. I would agree.
Why does it matter whether a pro uses it or not? Why does it matter to you as a player?
So this is also a good question, Joseph, because all the brands promote their products in different ways. So Yonex, for example, for a long time, when they were kind of finding their way in tennis, obviously they're a later addition to the brands, they focused on grassroots activation and getting rackets in people's hands and building that way. And you look at brands like Wilson and Head, and they pay a lot of money to a lot of players, and they see tour coverage, both ATP and WTA, as really important for growing their brand. They really put an emphasis on, if we see rackets frequently watching tennis, that will filter down into driving more sales. And I don't personally think that is the case. I think for certain rackets it is, and certain players it is, but it's more about how rackets kind of look and play more so.
So it's who wins.
Sean thinks it's who wins. Whenever someone wins, we then sell those rackets.
Yeah, but I think that you get, if you've got some players might sell rackets.
Yeah.
But if you're confident that your rackets are the best, which I think most brands are, confident their rackets are the best. Only one brand probably is correct in that. But one brand thinks their racket is the best. Get them in players' hands is the approach, because you get them in your hand. If your racket is the best, people are going to stick with the racket.
Yeah, and that's kind of my point. I think there's obviously, if you were a major brand and no players were using your racket, and this was the issue with what racket release was it? No, it wasn't the original Gravity when it came out. There was, it might have been Shift. I can't remember which brand that was brought a brand new racket and were really saying it was great, and then it had no tour coverage at all. And suddenly it does lose some credibility, if no player is willing to try it and like it and use it, or even paint their current racket like it, then is it as good as it says? There is.
Yeah, Shift.
So I can tell you that Wilson, there is some movement around. So for that potential new racket around the US Open, which maybe is blue, there is a very surprising new player on it, but I definitely can't tell you that. All right, I missed loads of comments. Happy birthday, thank you. Watching from Brisbane. I just purchased the Clash, it arrived today. Excited to get on the court and test it out. Which Clash did you get? 100 Pro. You're going to want a stiffer string in that, because it's so forgiving. I really like 4G soft in it if you've got a heavier one. But anyway, what machine would you recommend start stringing? We started with like a little wind back. If you've never done it before, I would suggest that would be a good start. A few $100s. Give it a go. See if you like it. Because if you don't really like doing it, you'll never do it. Especially if you're just doing it for yourself. Supercode. The brands don't have to force players to switch rackets. They can just not do a paint job and be honest, or launch the player spec. Yeah, I mean, the brand contracts with players obviously are heavily financially induced, and they'll all have different sets of clauses, I assume, about when they have to change, what they have to be able to change, etc. But it was really nice when they did the Rafa Origin, of course. That racket was mental, wasn't it, the heavy one? The light one, brilliant, but the original Origin was tough to use. We still got one.
Yeah, there's one down.
We got one left. What are the advantages of buying a racket grip 2, grip 3? You can't grip 3 racket you want. Disadvantages of wrong grip size. As you add a grip over the top, it rounds the bevels. So if you look at a grip here from the side, you can see its shape. And obviously, as you add layers, then the sharp edges which you use to feel your grip get rounded, harder to tell. And that is why it's not preferable. However, there is no problem, unless you're really pedantic about the weight and balance, to strip off a grip 2. You can add a heat shrink sleeve and build it up, and it heat guns on so it keeps the same shape, it just gets bigger. Obviously it adds some weight to the handle, so it doesn't affect the swing weight too much, but it might affect the balance, so it depends how pedantic you are about the specific spec. Obviously you could rebalance it if you really wanted to. But we tend to tell people to go smaller and build up, because you definitely can't bring it down, or it's a lot more challenging. Tom Smith, Yonex in the next 10 years might be the most commonly used racket. Are you talking like just mass participation globally, or like on the tour? I think you could be right on either. Can you recommend a round string for control? There's lots of round strings for control. Restring Sync is a round string for control. Hawk Touch is a round string for control. I'm just looking at my massive wall of string in front of me. Wasabi X is a round string for control. All of those are very nice. You can try them. Why do you think the latest trend of the rackets is to go back to gloss? Do you think it's to counterbalance the muted nature of frames by adding a little crispiness? Yeah, we've had the shop now for 7 years, 8 years in August, I think. And we've seen, even in that short time, they go matte to gloss to matte to gloss. I don't think it's to do with the playability of the frames. The pro players always have the gloss because it looks better under the lights and it shows off more. But then often, even if the pro's got the gloss one in store, and the general one will be matte. So I think they just come in and out. And also brands will do one of each. So Wilson in the pro range, they're all gloss, and then in the standard range, they are not. That's why they paid Roddick to use it. Yeah. I got the 100 and added the 4G soft. Oh right, that was my Clash friend, isn't it? Yeah, that will be brilliant. That's what we tested the Clash in, was with 4G soft, and really liked it. So enjoy it. From Brisbane, Australia. Very nice. What's the best way to add 3 grams of weight without affecting its balance? Well, if you find the exact point where the racket is balanced, you put the weight there, and then the balance won't change at all. Or you put the same amount of weight either side, the same distance from the balance point, and then again, it will remain balanced. We've got a swing weight and balancing machine here, so it's probably preferable to find a professional to do it. But if you can find the balance of your racket at the midpoint, and you've got some weight, if it's only 3 grams, you'd probably be fine just to add it on yourself, and the balance won't change. Both, they're getting used by now. Oh, so you're talking about Yonex. Yes, that's Tom's comment about Yonex becoming so dominant. The issue that I think Yonex will have, I think if we talk about like tour spec frames and like top end frames, then I think they've got a chance to really become super dominant. At the moment, they are nowhere near on either, but they are growing the fastest. From what I can see, the issue is that Wilson especially have got a huge range of rackets aimed at that recreational level, and I mean, when I spend time in America, I always go into Walmart and Target and whatever sporting shops I can find to see what's going on, and it's always Wilson, and they just have so many options at that lower price point. And Yonex have got maybe no interest, no passion for that market, and no capacity to create necessarily. They're already pretty slammed. So I think on total market dominance, I think that would be tougher. But on the top ones, better. Oh, we've got a first coaching comment. So with those of you who know, we actually are a team of coaches. We've got a coaching channel with some really unique content on it. So please check it out. I promise you'll learn something new. And this is recognising short balls earlier. Sometimes getting to the ball when it's too low. So that's a decision-making issue. There's all sorts of things going on there at perception. The question I would throw back at you is to why recognising the short ball was so important. So you can come back to me on that. Is a 98 100 square inch good for doubles? Is a Yonex Percept 100D good for doubles? Yeah, I tend to find playing doubles, more volleying, faster tempo, the 100 is going to be a little more forgiving, especially on volleys. So I would say the Percept 100D would be a very nice doubles option. I think that's a good shout. Why aren't 28-inch rackets as popular, especially on tour? Because some pros do use extended rackets. Yeah, you get the odd like 27.5, and actually, interestingly, the new E-Zone 115 are very delayed because the first batch was actually, the size it was actually incorrect, so they got recalled and are being remade. So that's a different story. Yeah, that was a global issue in the factory. So yeah, I guess the longer rackets, whilst you get more leverage, less manoeuvrable. So this is the same of like tour weights generally on singles tour, especially, are coming down. Doubles tour are still using very, very high weighted rackets, no matter what people tell you. So that's the thing. Have you tried the Wilson Ultra Pro? Do you mean the current Ultra Pro? Oh, that's a clue. A friend of mine suggested an overgrip. What's the disadvantage of using them apart from not ruining? Is that the... I can't remember what the question that was. Was that about building it up?
That's a clash.
Or is that just in general? Obviously, so the main advantage of using an overgrip is they're replaceable much quicker. and a much lower cost than taking the whole grip off. Which is why a lot of people will say, as we talked about already, the Grip 2 versus Grip 3, and having a slightly smaller grip, you can put the Overgrip on it, and there you're fine. So yeah, I would say 90% of tennis players are using Overgrip, so go for it. Is Headlink's Tour good with a Babolat Pure Aero? I've no idea. Probably. When I used the Aeros, we did the Aero versus Extreme test last summer, and we used different strings on them, and it wasn't until we put Zero in it that I really loved it. It made that Aero really pop nicely, so that would be my preference for that. My current racket and string setup, gauge and tension. So I've currently got a Pure Drive waiting to be strung, and it currently is unstrung. Look, here it is. It's got my tag on everything. It is empty because we are waiting for our delivery of Restring Vivo, the new string, which is out on Monday, but we still haven't had our stock. It's stuck at customs, so who knows when it will be here. But that will be the string that I have. Tension will be slightly tighter than normal. That was off Restring's recommendation. I'll probably have it at 52. But aside from that, my current, if I was just going with what I particularly like, I would be doing a Sync mains and a Zero cross at the moment at £52. Sebastian, good morning. What type of poly would fit the T-Fight 305S best? Great question. So we have got a T-Fight. What do we do it with, Ben?
Zero.
No. What comparison did we do? Is it Gravity
Tour?
So we did a Gravity Tour and T-Fight 305S comparison video last week, and we didn't. When we originally did the racket testing, we used the strings that the brands wanted us to, which were both control strings, and the brands had strung them for us already, and we didn't really love them, and a lot of the internet disagreed with us and said, people tend to really like this. So when we did this versus, we put Restring Zero in them both, and our opinions changed significantly. So you will find in those videos, people will probably become like, you didn't like it, now you're saying you like it. And so it shows how important the string is. So in that T-Fight 305S specifically, having a more power spin friendly string is just going to liven it up a bit. So we put Zero in it and really, really liked it. So yeah, I certainly wouldn't be going with unless you really want something really muted, I would tend to go something a little bit more out there. The Japanese road trip in search of the Holy Grail. Well, Marcel, funny you say that. We have 3 irons in the fire. Not just for us to get there, but for other people that we know who are heading over to Japan. So we may well have success in our Regner search. Those of you who watch the channel will know that we have tried it and loved it and now want loads of them. Have you tried Restring Vivo? No, we haven't. It hasn't come. Our samples to test and film were also supposed to come with the stock like 2-3 weeks ago, and it's stuck with Parcel Force in the UK. So if anyone's watching and you work for Parcel Force, send us a message on Instagram. I'll send you our reference. You can try and find it for me. Is the Gravity Tour a good seller? It's the best seller of the Gravity range. I think Head are very happy with how it's gone. Generally, the conversations that I've had. Oh, another message retracted. I love that. Grumps, good morning. What influences you to use Sync in the mains and Zero in the crosses rather than the other way around? If you look back at a video we did last summer, we wanted to test. We did a Zero versus Sync video, in fact. We did 1 racket full bed Zero, 1 racket full bed Sync, and then we did 1 Sync mains, Zero crosses, and 1 Zero mains and Sync crosses. And the mains, we figured out from doing that, are about 75%, 80% dominant in the playability of the racket. That's what really gives it its main feel. And I love the crispness of Sync, but a full bed just lack a little bit of extra power, so just putting Zero in it gives it a little bit of extra pop, and that is why. I know it's unusual, but that is me. What is, in your opinion, the best tennis ball for clay at the moment? The Roland Garros, the Wilson ball. It's very, very good. I have the other way around and have to do it. I don't love it. Well, you have Zero mains and Sync crosses. Well, maybe switch it around. Marcel, I enjoy the sunglasses emoji. Oh, that's for our trip to Japan, isn't it? So keep your questions coming. Comments, questions, anything else. you want to know. But whilst, oh sorry, I've got another question. I was going to ask something else. Yonex Super Grap versus Wilson Pro. What's the difference in your opinion? I don't know. We actually have, I think it's downstairs, we have a set of all the different grips, so we can feel the difference. The Super Grap is very good, but the Wilson Pro is kind of very well established. So I wouldn't know off the top of my head. Josh, what racket comes close to a Pure Aero 98, but less stiff? V-Core 98?
Yeah.
Probably. Is Josh the best player at PH Tennis? Of course. Can't you tell? Jesus. I'm the heaviest player. For a weight to player ratio, then yeah, sure. Will you be carrying the Gripper Snake reels in the future? Sean, do we have Gripper Snake reels? No, we have sets. No reels. Oh, yes. Here is my grip comparison tool that we have in the shop. Well, I'm getting hit with it. So you can see here we've got the Yonex Super Grap and the Wilson Pro. So now this is going to be a weird bit of content, isn't it? Oh, so how do they feel? They're very similar, I've got to say. They're very similar.
Same as Head Prime Tour.
We've got 5 minutes left. Video comparing all the overgrips. Yeah, we're making it right now. Right now. So interesting in store. We have done this before, where we've told customers to hold it up, to close their eyes and feel them to choose, because people often are blinded by colour or brand or whatever it is. And when we've done that, it has been the Yonex Super Grap has often come out as the most popular, alongside the Head Extreme Soft rather than the Prime, even though the Prime is the tall one that they use. Also the Yonex Dual Wave, which has got this little ridge in it on the way down. Very popular with badminton players and some tennis players now as well, so it's worth trying. So yeah, Grapple Snake reels, we've got sets. Are they online? Are they available? Yeah, Grapple Snake strings are available. We don't have reels. If you want a reel, let us know. Or if you want to buy 10 sets, then I'm sure Sean will do you a deal. Send us a message. Video comparing all the overgrips. Yeah, I've just done that. Top 3 current tennis strings to have in full bed. My personal, if I had to go with a full bed of string, I would have 4G Soft in there. I would have Polytour Strike in there, and I'd have Zero in there. Would be my 3. Maybe Vivo will take over, or even Slinko Mac 10, which is also waiting at customs to come in from America. So I don't know if this is all Mr. Trump's new tariffs and things making it harder. This is Tom Smith. This is sus. I assume that was about me testing out grips in front of you, but I don't know. But anyway,
to be the best player.
Claiming to be the best player. No, that was. No, I don't know who that was. Yeah, it was me in my pocket. One of the things we wanted to ask is, while Sean is waving 3 fingers at me, which I assume means I have 3 minutes left, is what time do you think we should do this live? So obviously this time works for us very nicely. Just before the shop opens, it's nice, we're fresh in the morning. But obviously there's a lot of people who aren't awake now or are at work.
Is anyone from the US on?
I guess there's some East Coast people maybe who are very early risers. So yeah, if you've got any if people can start telling us what time would be more preferable, or ideas where you think more people would be available, then let us know. Yeah, Giancarlo says closing time. The problem with closing time is that Sean wants to go home. No, problem with closing time is that we're all then on court. This is the issue. So we are looking at that, and maybe looking at even a later evening slot sometimes. So yeah, good timings from Indonesia. Well, yeah, we do set everything up for the Indonesians, so you're very welcome. Dunlop Fort Clay versus Wilson Roland Garros. As I said, I would go. The Wilson Roland Garros clay court ball was excellent, so that is what I would go with. And we don't even sell that, so you can't level, as the people online love to do, that I'm doing it to sell them. Oh, don't mess with my comment box, Sean. I can't see anything. So yeah, so we're looking at that, and I can't remember what else I was going to ask. Oh yeah, the other thing we've started to do, the brands obviously love to give us free stuff. Some of it we like, some of it we don't like, and we are trying to come up with plans to give it away, reward our loyal customers and followers, etc. A good time for the Aussies, yeah, exactly. And so we don't know whether we should do it in store. Someone comes in and I don't know, buys a Wilson racket and we say, oh, Wilson gave us this free Wilson notebook. Here you go, as a little gift, or whether we should do it online and should we tell, because will people assume that it's come from the brand when actually it's just come from us? If anyone's got any ideas, let us know. We're unsure how to do it, but we've got a little box of goodies and we want to give them away in the fairest, nicest way. I have 1 minute, so if you've got any final questions, put them in. To stencil or not to stencil?
No.
I think rackets look much better stenciled. Like, much better. But if you're trying to intimidate your opponent, you've never played them before, rocking up with a racket that's obviously been restrung gets in their head. So don't stencil. Or, as we've got a client who I think is like 12 or 13, who his dad is very pushy and has created his own logo, like the Djokovic and Federer, and has Nadal got his logo? Yeah. And so he's got his own logo and he's created a stencil, and then we've stenciled his son's brand onto his racket. He's not even that good at tennis. So there you go. I hope he's not watching. Very loyal customer. But facts. Why is everyone? Was it that funny?
If he's watching, it's a nightmare, isn't it?
He's watching.
Just lost the customer.
He won't be watching. It's 9 a.m. He'll be at work. Let's not post this one afterwards.
Okay.
I'm finding that I'm struggling with control. Someone's just said it might be the multi. Oh, gunshots here in Enfield. Someone's just said it might be a multi-string I'm using. Would a poly or hybrid be a better choice? Yeah, multis are more powerful and out there than polys, so a poly or a hybrid would be a good choice. Yeah, I'd probably go hybrid first. So just put a nice, you want a soft poly though, because otherwise it will rip through your multi-filament in no time. A good spin string for the new Radical MP. We loved it with zero in it, which obviously does power and spin. So that would be a good shout. Sean has recognised your name. Peter Doherty. Why is that? Are you a loyal customer? Are you the customer? No, you're not the customer. That would be good though.
Bye.
I didn't get many good options for new times. I'm just going to give people 10 seconds to give me a final options. Everyone's.
Now is the perfect time.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, you always say, don't change it. Yeah. Keep it now. Everyone is doing this at me, which I think means I'm supposed to finish, but I'm not going to. What time is it? Oh, the shop is literally about to open. Yeah. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a pleasant day, evening, afternoon, wherever you are.